to begin with our first session of day 2. It is my pleasure to introduce with you Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Sexena, who will deliver a lecture on the revival of Indian knowledge systems and their integration with contemporary education. Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Sexena is a distinguished educationist, currently serving as Professor, Head and Dean of the School of Education at the Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dharamshala, with over 25 years of teaching, research, and administrative experience. He has made significant contributions to the field of teacher education in India. He holds a PhD in education, an MEd and MCom, reflecting his strong interdisciplinary academic background. His key areas of specialization include ICT in education, teacher education, environmental and tribal education, and educational research methodology. Professor Sexena has authored more than 10 books and published over 100 research papers in reputed national and international journals. He has presented scholarly work in more than 75 conferences and has been invited for keynote addresses and expert lectures across the country. He has successfully guided 8 PhD scholars and is currently supervising several doctoral and postdoctoral candidates. A member of national level bodies like UGC, Standing Committee on Teacher Education, NAC peer teams, and NCTE visiting teams, he has contributed to policy making and quality assurance in higher education. He is also a recipient of the President's Scout Award and Rotary Youth Leadership Award in his early academic years. Known for his academic leadership and commitment to inclusive and innovative education, Professor Sexena continues to play a key role in shaping teacher education and educational research in India. Sir, we are eager to hear your thoughts. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, all. Thank you, Dr. Mini, for introducing me with the learned participants and my fellow colleagues. Dr. Pargat Singh Garcha, my fellow speakers, my teacher, Professor Ishpal Singh, Professor Amit Kotz, Dr. Navneet Sharma, Dr. Manu Chadda, the convener of the program, Dr. Jaspal Barwal, Dr. Tripta Parmar, the management of the college, distinguished delegates. At the outset, let me congratulate Dr. Pargat and his team to select this very apt theme of the this national level seminar on Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's contribution. We are together here with the contribution of Sardar Patel, as we all know that without his contribution, we know that all the princely states are scattered. But Sardar Patel was the person who has made this contribution, and all the princely states came together, and we are now in the Union of India. And that theme is very apt because we are going to celebrate 5 years of National Education Policy 2020 soon. I have been given, the title Revival of Indian Knowledge System and its integration with contemporary education. Really, it's a topic of some challenge that I have to discuss about revival of Indian knowledge system. At many places, many platforms, I have just shared my views that why we are saying that Indian knowledge system. You know that our preamble of our constitution is also says that India, that is Bharat. Why not we say that Bharatiya knowledge system instead of Indian knowledge system? because we are in Bharat, India, that is Bharat. So it is always better that if suppose the name of Dr. Pargat is Pargat Singh Garcha, that is Parag. Why we are going to Pargat? Why not Parag? To me, that Indian knowledge system, we should say it instead of Indian knowledge system, that Bharatiya knowledge system. And you know that Bharatiya knowledge system is a holistic, multidisciplinary, and deeply rooted intellectual tradition developed over thousands of years, encompassing diverse fields such as philosophy, science, mathematics, medicine, agriculture, architecture, language, arts, spirituality, etc., etc. It is characterized by its integration of knowledge and values, promoting not only cognitive growth but also ethical, emotional, and ecological well-being. You know that from the Rig Veda to classical texts like Arthashastra, Charak Samhita, Nyaya Shastra, the IKS reflects, or rather the BKS, Bharatiya Knowledge System, reflects a seamless blend of theoretical insight and practical wisdom. Ancient Indian universities like Takshila, Nalanda, Vikramshila, which attracted students across the world, were the epitome of interdisciplinary education and global intellectual exchange. Notable scholars like Aryabhat, Patanjali, Shushruta, Charak, they laid the foundation for several branches of modern sciences. If we know that Ayurveda, that is India's traditional medical system, is still practiced globally and recognized by the World Health Organization now. Similarly, you know Vedic mathematics, known for its computational efficiency. For computing the, that difficult calculations, if we go through the system which we are following, and if we go for the Vedic mathematics, I think that Vedic mathematics is comparatively easier, that one can calculate easily and quickly with the help of Vedic mathematics. You know, the National Education Policy 2020 also emphasizes the revival of integration of Bharatiya knowledge system. They have also mentioned Indian knowledge system, but I am referring it to Bharatiya knowledge system, that emphasizes that the revival and integration of a Bharatiya knowledge system, stating that education must be rooted in Indian ethos while meeting the needs of 21st century. To facilitate this, Ministry of Education, Government of India established the Indian Knowledge System Division. I must say that it should also be changed to Bharatiya Knowledge System Division in 2020, which has funded over 100 projects and partnered with the premier institutions like IITs, triple IITs, and central universities. The Bharatiya knowledge system is not merely a relic of the past, but a living tradition that offers sustainable, inclusive, and human-centric solutions for contemporary global challenges. If we talk about that, the National Education Policy 2020 marks a transformative shift in India's approach to education by strongly emphasizing the revival, preservation, and integration of Bharatiya knowledge system into all levels of learning. Recognizing Bharat's rich intellectual and cultural heritage, NEP 2020 states that the ancient Indian education system produced great scholars like Chakra, Shushrat, Aryabhat, Bhaskaracharya, Chanakya, Palani, Patanjali, and asserts the need to bring this legacy into mainstream education. The policy proposes incorporating traditional knowledge such as Ayurveda, Yoga, Vastu, Sanskrit literature, environmental practices, architecture, and Indian logic into the curricula of schools and higher education institutions. It aims to foster pride in Indian heritage while promoting interdisciplinary learning that blends modern science will with the time-tested wisdom. NEP 2020 also encourages multilingualism, which includes the promotion of classical languages like Sanskrit and the documentation of regional and tribal knowledge systems. At the higher education level, institutions are developing IKS-based elective courses, with UGC approving guidelines for IKS curriculum integration. The policy also envisions blending IKS with cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and environmental science, creating innovative pathways for sustainable development. You know that platforms like Swayam and Diksha have begun hosting IKS-related online courses, ensuring with wider accessibility. The inclusion of IKS in national initiatives such as National Credit Framework further validates its importance. Through these measures, NEP 2020 not only seeks to reconnect learners with India's civilizational roots and globally relevant skills for the 21st century. You know that National Education Policy 2020 affirms that India has a rich heritage of ancient and eternal knowledge and thought systems. This statement recognizes the profound legacy of India's intellectual, philosophical, and scientific traditions developed over millennia. From the world's earliest universities like Takshila and Nalanda to scholars like Aryabhat in astronomy, Panini in linguistics, and Chakra in medicine, Bharat has contributed significantly to global knowledge system. The Vedas, Upanishad, Arshas, and classical texts in Ayurveda, Yoga, mathematics, and logic all represents a holistic and interdisciplinary approach to learning. However, my friend may not, accept me on this term, that due to colonial influence and a lack of institutional support post-independence, much of this indigenous knowledge was marginalized. But NEP 2020 aims to revive and integrate these systems into contemporary education by promoting Sanskrit and regional languages, encouraging research in traditional knowledge domains, and supporting curricular reforms that blend ancient wisdom with modern science. The establishment of Indian Knowledge System Division under the Ministry of Education and inclusion of IKS content in textbooks and UGC approved courses mark a significant step towards reconnecting learners with Bharat's intellectual heritage. And this revival is essential not just for cultural pride, but for building a more rooted, inclusive, and innovative educational future. The thing, if we talk about what exactly Indian knowledge system is, or Bharatiya knowledge system is, it is a vast and profound reservoir of wisdom that encompasses diverse fields. You know, the fields such as philosophy, logic, yoga, metallurgy, and the education system like the ancient Gurukuls, Nalanda and Takshila universities, These knowledge traditions flourished for centuries and made Bharat a global center of learning. For instance, Takshila University attracted students from across the world to study over 60 disciplines, including medicine, law, military science, and mathematics. Similarly, Nalanda University hosted around 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers with a vast library and structured pedagogy. Bharati knowledge system is rooted in a holistic and experiential learning approach, where knowledge was not fragmented but taught through direct observation, discussion, and applications. What makes BKS particularly relevant today is its multidisciplinary and interconnected nature. There was no rigid separation between subjects. Knowledge domains flowed into one another. The Gurukul system of education promoted not only intellectual growth, but also character formation, environmental awareness, and life skills, making learning both ethical and practical. You know that India has a long and illustrious tradition of knowledge and education that date back to thousands of years. Ancient universities, you know that Takshila, Nalanda, Vikramshila stood as the global centers of learning. And they attracted scholars from countries like China, Korea, Tibet, Sri Lanka, and even Greece. Takshila, considered one of the world's first residential universities, offered over 60 disciplines, including medicine, law, military science, and astronomy. You know that the rich intellectual heritage is preserved in ancient Indian texts, such as the Vedas and Upanishads, which delve into metaphysics, cosmology, and consciousness. Reviving this legacy through education today and envisioned in NEP 2020 is a step towards reclaiming Bharat's position as a global knowledge leader. One of the critical challenges in reviving the Indian knowledge system is the colonial impact of education. Again, I'm saying that my fellow colleagues may not accept it, but it is that the colonial impact on education, particularly due to Macaulay's Minute on Education in 1835. You know that Macaulay introduced in an English-centric education model that aimed to create a class of Indians in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. This effectively marginalized centuries of rich indigenous knowledge, sidelining traditional institutions like pathshalas, madrasas, and gurukuls, which had been catering to diverse communities with instruction in regional languages. According to educational historian Dharampal's research, indigenous schools before British reforms were wider spread and covered topics like mathematics, astronomy, medicine, and logic. With over 1 lakh schools functioning in Bengal and Madras provinces presidencies alone. These systems were gradually dismantled as English education became a tool of administrative convenience rather than holistic learning. Major hurdle in reviving Bharati knowledge system today is the lack of systematic documentation and standardization. Much of the traditional knowledge was transmitted orally through apprenticeship or lived experiences. and not recorded in formats that align with modern academic framework. As a result, valuable knowledge in areas like Ayurveda, linguistics, and architecture remains fragmented, untranslated, or logged in palm leaf manuscripts that scattered across regional archives and libraries. This makes integration into curricula and research a complex process that requires multidisciplinary effort, linguistic expertise. Another key issue is the disconnect between traditional and modern system of education. While modern education often emphasizes compartmentalized and specialized learning, Bharatiya knowledge system is inherently interdisciplinary, blending philosophy, science, ethics, and aesthetics. This divergence creates a gap in pedagogy where traditional practices are seen as incompatible or irrelevant to contemporary academic norms. A persistent perception of Bharatiya knowledge system as unscientific or outdated continues to hamper its revival. This view stems largely from the lack of contextual understanding, where ancient practices are judged by modern metrics without appreciating their epistemological foundations. Many innovations, such as zero in mathematics, surgical tools described in Shushrat Samhita, or ecological models in Brasha Ayurveda, are now receiving scientific validation, yet biases remain. Addressing this requires rigorous research, empirical validation, and integration with contemporary knowledge system to showcase the relevance and potential of ICAS. In alignment with the vision of national education policy, the government of India, as I told you already, that they have established Indian knowledge system division functioning under the aegis of AICTE, and this division is dedicated to promoting interdisciplinary research, documentation, and integration of Bharat's rich traditional knowledge into the formal education system. This division serves as a nodal body for coordinating nationwide efforts to revive and mainstream ancient Bharatiya wisdom across diverse fields. A crucial aspect of NEP's vision in the promotion of classical languages like Sanskrit and other regional languages, recognizing them as vital carrier of India's cultural and intellectual heritage. To support this, the Bharatiya Bhasha Samiti was formed to prepare multilingual content and promote language learning across institutions. Moreover, to foster innovation rooted in tradition, NEP 2020 strongly supports research in traditional knowledge system, encouraging multidisciplinary collaboration and modern scientific validation of ancient practices. The IKS division has already supported over 100 plus research projects and fellowships through UGC and AICTE, enabling students and scholars to work on indigenous themes. Importantly, NEP 2020 integrates IKS into Academic Bank of Credits and National Credit Framework, allowing learners to earn formal academic credits through IKS related courses. How much time is with me? 15 minutes more. Okay. Good. So if we talk about integration of Indian knowledge system with contemporary education curriculum development. In recent years, curriculum development in Bharat has taken a significant turn towards integrating the IKS into mainstream education, especially in line with the vision of NEP 2020. If I talk about the higher education level, universities across the country are now offering elective courses in IKS like yoga, Indian logic, Vedic mathematics, Ayurveda, classical Indian philosophy, and Sanskrit literature. For instance, IIT Kharagpur, BHU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, and even my own university, Central University of Himachal Pradesh, we are having some of the, we have introduced the dedicated centers and certificate programs on IKS. And you know that uh, if we talk about pedagogical integration, NEP emphasizes the integration of Indian knowledge system into teaching methods. And one of the most effective way to achieve this is through pedagogical innovations. A key example for this may be inquiry-based learning, which aligns seamlessly with ancient Indian tradition of Shastrarth, a structured form of philosophical debate practiced in gurukuls and centers like Nalanda and Takshila. These intellectual exchange nurtured critical thinking, reasoning, and respectful disagreement, fostering a culture of dialogic learning that resonates with modern constructivist theories. Similarly, experiential learning, strongly promoted by NEP 2020, find deep roots in traditional Indian education, where knowledge was often imparted through hands-on practices in crafts, agriculture, oral storytelling, and community participation. You know that interdisciplinary research in Indian education system plays a crucial role in bridging ancient wisdom with contemporary scientific inquiry. Bharatiya knowledge system is inherently interdisciplinary, integrating diverse domains such as medicine, mathematics, astronomy, linguistic, etc., etc. And you know that today's scholars and researchers are revisiting traditional knowledge through the lens of modern disciplines, creating innovative pathways in the field like, uh, you know, that Ayurgenomics, a blend of Ayurveda and genomics, Vedic mathematics and computational science, traditional architecture and environmental sustainability, and Braksha Ayurveda and organic farming. NEP 2020 strongly advocates for such interdisciplinary approaches, encouraging higher education institutions to integrate Bharatiya knowledge system into research and curriculum. And you know that these efforts not only enrich our academic landscape, but also position Bharat as a global leader in knowledge integration and innovation. Interdisciplinary IKS research thus holds immense potential for building a self-reliant, future-ready Bharat. If I talk about the role of institution and educators, that is very much important in integration of Indian knowledge system into contemporary education, which is gaining momentum. And academic institutions and educators are playing a center role in this transformation. Various institutions have emerged as pioneers in conducting interdisciplinary research and curriculum development focused on IKS. At the heart of this movement are educators who are now being equipped to bridge the gap between traditional wisdom and modern pedagogy. This shift ensures that teachers do not merely transmit content, but also foster critical thinking rooted in Bharat's intellectual heritage. Several teacher education programs now include modules on epistemologies of Indian knowledge alongside modern teaching techniques. Here, I would like to give you one example, live example of my university, what we did to include Indian knowledge system into the curriculum. I'm happy to share that Central University of Himachal Pradesh is one of the pioneer universities who have started implementing the recommendations of National Education Policy 2020. We have started all these things from, I believe, the batch from 2022. And what we did, that we were of the opinion that our student must know about our Indian knowledge system. So we have tried that we'll develop one course on Bharatiya knowledge system. So I'll finish within 5 minutes. So we were of the opinion that our students must know about Indian knowledge system, their heritage, what is good in our system. So we have developed one course on Indian knowledge system for 4 credits. And this is for all the students studying in masters. This was uniform for all, irrespective of their discipline. And also we have introduced one course for undergraduate programs. Let me share you with the about master's program. When we have come up with the this course on IKS for 4 credits, it was a mix of all the all type of knowledge which we can just want to share with our students. Then one more point came to our mind, and in discussion it emerged out that if the students will come to know general IKS, what is Indian knowledge system, it is not fair with the disciplines, various disciplines, because they must know, the student who is studying in education, who is studying in physics, who is studying in chemistry, or who is studying in linguistics, they must know about the discipline specific their system. So what we did, we just break that 4 credits into 2 courses of 2 credits each. One course of 2 credit, it was for general IKS. This is uniform for all the master's students. All have to undergo that particular course and they have to pass it like other courses. And then what we did, we have given 2 credit to the departments, and we have asked them that they must develop a discipline specific Indian knowledge system course, that what is good in Indian knowledge system as far as their discipline is concerned. So we have developed that course. In the first semester, all these students are supposed to take that course, that is universal for all, uniform for all, they will undergo. And in second semester, a similar course of 2 credits they have to study, that is discipline specific. And this is about the Indian knowledge system curriculum which we wish to include. Another significant dimension is collaboration between modern institutions and traditional knowledge holders. That is very much important. If you see, you know that universities and research bodies are increasingly engaging with gurukuls, tribal communities, artisans, and local scholars to create and validate indigenous knowledge. You know that government UGC has created one position named as Professor of Practice. That position is meant for such people, those are excel in their particular field and they do not require any of the essential qualification like us, and they can be appointed. They do not need any PhD, they do not need any any net or any such type of qualification, that but they must be excel in their field, so they can be appointed as Professor of Practice. Let me share one more thing. When we were sanctioned Deen Dayal Upadhyay Kaushal Kendra, way back in 2015, I believe, 10 years ago. At that time, my Vice Chancellor, Professor Kuldeep Agnihotri, was there, and he was of the opinion that Manoj ji, we have this Kaushal Kendra, so we must engage or appoint some of the local artisans. But at that time, we were not in the position that we can hire them, we can appoint them, because you know that we have very good Kangla paintings. We have very good Chamba Rumals, Chamba Thal. These or you might be knowing about Kullu shawls. These are our local skills, local traditions, But we are not able to appoint those people at that time. I don't know whether it was his intervention to the national education policy, or by God grace, I don't know what it is. But now we can hire, we can appoint, or rather we can engage, not appoint. We can engage now professor of practice, and even we can engage local artisans, local practitioners, so that they come to our university, because we the teachers do not have such type of skills which those local artisans are having. And we cannot give such type of skills to our students, but the people who are working in those fields, they come to our university system, and they can just tell, or just transmit their skills into our students also. And you know that this approach not only democratizes knowledge, but also preserve India's diverse and localized intellectual traditions. Here, I wish to mention one more thing. One of my postdoctoral fellows did his work on ethnomedicinal practices. And he did his work in very far-flung area of Himachal Pradesh, that is Barmor, that is a tehsil, and it is very far-flung and remote area. They are practicing ethnomedicinal practices. Very good people are there, those who knows about herbs, who knows about the local whatever they are having, the herbs and the plantations. But they were in very sorry figure that they know, and they have disclosed, and they have revealed it, that this ancient knowledge will go with us, because nobody wants to take this knowledge. I don't know what's that, but as they told, that is very effective, very effective. But because you know that in our Himachal Pradesh, this is a tradition. If the families are well to do, they never take their children with them. In far-flung areas, in tribal areas, they send them Punjab University, Chandigarh. They send them to Banaras Hindu University. They send them to HP University, Shimla, even our university. Or if they are much well off, they send them to Canada, Australia, USA. So nobody is there to preserve that ancient knowledge. So in that way, if universities will certainly will engage them as local artisan or artist in residence, it would be, I believe, that a good thing that we can, what I say, we can preserve our Indian knowledge, and we can transmit this Indian knowledge to the our next generation. So, that Bharat's ambitious goal of becoming a developed nation by 2047, Viksit Bharat, depends significantly on reviving the soul of Indian education, and this soul lies in cultivating holistic thinkers, ethical innovations, and socially responsible citizens who are deeply rooted in their culture, yet equipped to lead globally. By harnessing the Bharati knowledge system and aligning it with 21st century skills, digital literacy, environmental sustainability, and global competencies, Bharat can create a model of education that is not only inclusive and future ready, but also uniquely Bharati. To conclude, I must say that as we progress toward this vision, the fusion of ancient wisdom and modern science will not only restore pride in our heritage, but also empower future generations